Hello, everyone, and we're back with The Tea with Dr. V. I'm Dr. Bethany Thomas, VP at Southeastern University, and I'm here with my favorite co-host,
Sarah.
And we have you guys that are listening.
I'm sorry.
I know it sounds stupid that we're laughing, but every episode we ever have, I'm like, I'm here with my co-host, and they just stare at me like they don't know their names.
It's an awkward pause.
And so we've asked them to practice, and they still can't get it right.
I can't do it. Okay.
What is your name?
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jill.
Okay,
And we are excited to announce our guest this
there we go.
afternoon.
Yes.
Or whenever you're listening, Michael Steiner.
Good
Yes.
to be here, guys. Good
Our
to be
Vice
here.
President of Innovation.
Yes.
We love Dr. Michael Steiner. He's actually the one who inspired me to do the podcast. And I said, you're out of your ever-living mind. But
Here we
he
are.
kept pushing, and I said, okay, and it's working.
And we've all been enriched ever since.
Yes.
It's been a lovely
We've
summer.
learned
You are welcome, all you listeners. Tell your friends
Yes.
You listeners.
about the
Yes.
excitement that's here.
It is so
legit.
fun.
You guys are also matching if you're watching on YouTube.
Oh, cute.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Is
we
it
are.
Wednesday?
What?
On Wednesdays we wear pink?
No,
Well,
it's Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday when this is recorded.
Yeah.
It may be a Wednesday when you're listening to
That's
it.
true.
Hey,
Hey.
it's a bit. We did
Yeah.
it.
I almost wore that same jacket. Sarah wore it into the office one day, and I was like, order it. I need it.
Yes.
So she sent me the link, and I almost had it on.
And every day I'm like, should I wear this or is Bethany going to wear it? And this is the first time I was like, I'm just going to do it.
This
and
is
she
the
goes,
reason
I
why.
almost wore it.
I was nervous at what pink would look like compared to the purple lights.
Well, I hope it looks good.
It
Sarah
does.
just
You look
told me
great.
that she doesn't buy things that other people have because, and now that makes sense, is
Yeah.
because you're always thinking.
I'm thinking, if I run into them with this on today, will we be matching?
Yeah.
I'd be like, baller. That's
Yeah, I don't
amazing.
care. I laugh.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God,
I think we
girl.
both look great, but I look better. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
See,
No,
this is
guys
one of
have
the
that
things.
issue.
This is one of the things of male privilege. I was just about to hound on this. Is you don't have to worry about this. Like all guys, you get three colors. You get
Yeah.
black, gray, and light blue.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't look good in light blue, so
Yeah.
I just have black and gray.
But you're wearing pink.
And I'm wearing
Okay.
pink right now. Occasionally, some guys stretch their wings
To like a
a
salmon.
little
Okay.
bit
Yeah.
of the salmon.
Yeah.
That's
Some
if you're
greens.
that's if you're
Appreciate
confident
it.
with yourself. I've got 3 kids, so I feel really confident
Yeah.
in myself to wear pink. 3 girls
Exactly.
actually, so it's all representative.
Yeah.
Of that.
Okay,
One
question.
girl on the way.
I do. Yeah, 2 girls now, 1 on the way.
Have you
Excited.
ever had your nails painted because of your daughters?
We're working on it. I've had some pinky toes painted. They're still getting comfortable with it. They like the idea of it. My oldest daughter's really into it, so we haven't gotten to the point. I'm ready. Just so for the table, I'm ready. I know this is a girl dad rite of passage. I've been prepared
amazing.
since day one.
Yes.
So as
That's
soon as they
amazing.
present it to me, I'm ready to go.
You're
I
in.
have done tea parties.
Yes.
I have my hair done every evening. They have their little hair set done,
obsessed.
all that kind of
That's
stuff.
incredible.
So
Yes.
they love me in a towel dress, so it's like they like make me wrap a towel around my waist. I'm in like a dress and all that
You're
stuff.
the
So it's
ultimate
there.
girl dad.
Yeah.
It's there.
I
It's
love
building
that.
it. All the skills. So
Well,
it's good.
my favorite part of this segment, what's in your teacup? I mean,
Yep.
our guests, we always let them have a pass because they bring mugs,
They
but
do.
I always have Coke Zero. What do you got, Sarah?
I did Coke Zero today too.
What?
I know it's kind of boring, but not boring.
I'm sorry.
Not boring.
It's not boring.
I just forgot to bring anything
you
else.
don't ever drink
I know.
Coke.
I need regular Coke because this is not sweet enough for me.
Oh, okay.
I need a little extra kick.
Oh.
Okay.
But it's good.
And Jill?
I actually have Diet Coke today.
Okay, how do you feel about it?
No, that's
I
crazy.
like Coke Zero more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great.
We should have switched.
Aspartame's not great. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to
found
talk
out
about.
it's also in
we
Coke
know.
Zero.
We know.
Yeah, it is.
For some
It's
reason,
bad.
I thought it
it's
wasn't.
also in sugar-free gum.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
But
It's really
also,
bad
like,
for
what's
you.
it going to do?
It's gonna.
It's going to deteriorate your brain.
It literally rots your brain out from the inside.
That makes a lot
The
of sense.
monkeys that they tested it on, all 12 monkeys had a seizure and died like 5 years ahead of time when they were like experimenting with the FDA. And the
what do
FDA
I do?
asked Coke about like, hey, you're putting aspartame in Coke, but monkeys die whenever we give it to them. And
really
there you go.
awesome.
And they handed them $1 billion and said, shh. And
I mean,
so
that's
the
worth
FBI
it.
went, there you
$1
go.
billion to keep quiet. Yeah.
I'm
This
kidding.
podcast
That's
is
not what I
already
Googled.
more interesting.
Yeah.
With Michael on.
And next week, we drink water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michael
I'm not drinking any of that.
Steiner,
Yes.
what is in your teacup? And actually tell us about your
Okay,
cup.
so this is my cup. This was a gift from Dr. Amy Franklin, my first favorite neurobiologist, and it has a picture of my second favorite neurobiologist, Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford University. Shout out to the Huberman Lab. Dr. Andrew Huberman, if you're listening to this podcast, podcast. I love you.
He is.
Yeah.
He's
It
definitely
says,
listening.
thank you
Always.
for your interest in science. So it is
Oh.
a science-based
I love
neurobiology
that. I was trying to figure out
podcast.
if it was you or
Nope.
your dad
Nope.
or
Dr. Andrew Huberman.
a loved
Dr.
one.
Andrew.
It's your second favorite neurobiologist.
Neurobiologist. First
there a
favorite being
3,
Dr.
4?
Amy Franklin.
Yes, obviously.
Yep, yep.
Is
So-
there 3, 4, 5, or just
No,
two?
just one,
Just
two.
two.
Just
Okay.
one, two. The rest of them, I don't trust their science.
Oh, okay.
These two I trust
Okay,
their
and what's in your mug?
What's in my cup mug is the Nicaraguan Portico drip coffee.
Oh, do we like it?
I love it. It's got
Oh.
a fruity notes on the back end of it. I
Fruity
love fruity. I
notes.
love fruity
Wow.
coffee.
I said hues last week.
Yes. What?
Last week I had tea and I said it has a hue of whatever. And they're like,
Hues,
notes.
notes, whatever.
Whatever it is.
It just depends on what you're musical
Fine.
on that part. Fun
Okay,
fact:
yeah.
I named Portico in my undergrad.
You
Wait, did
did?
you?
I
Really?
did. Yep. We had a big
That's a really great
naming
fun fact.
conversation when we
Whoa.
built Portico. I was in undergrad,
I had
and
no
we had
idea.
a big naming competition.
Yeah.
I submitted the name Portico and won.
Hey.
Way
That's
to go.
incredible.
Yep.
Did you get a prize or something? Or
Nope.
just...
Nope. No
Just
thanks.
that
Not
You get
even,
like royalties or something.
not even a free coffee.
We could work
Nothing.
on that.
Way.
Nothing.
We need a plaque with your
Yeah,
name.
Yeah.
I agree.
VP of Communication and Innovation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dale just
You were
casually one day was
already
like,
walking in your calling then.
I
Yeah.
was.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
just
could
naming
preach.
things.
For those of you listening, Portico is our in-house coffee shop at SEU because I
Yes.
think a lot of our listeners don't actually go to SEU,
Right.
Aw.
which is great.
Come here.
Yeah, come. We'd
Yeah.
love to have you.
Come, I will buy you a cup of coffee at Portico.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay.
coffee shop.
What are you guys Googling?
Okay, so I went to IKEA this week with Jill and Mike, so I am just obsessed with it right now.
With IKEA.
IKEA, because the whole thought of it is genius. You
Genius.
just walk around, you get to see all the cool things.
And eat Swedish meatballs.
You eat Swedish meatballs when you're tired,
Yes.
and then you go do it yourself, and you pick out all the pieces.
Is this like your first time there?
Okay, my first time buying anything for myself.
Because like you have an adult salary, so
Yeah.
it's like I
Right.
need to like buy things.
Yeah, I get to
Got
buy
it.
an entertainment center, and I was just shocked. We got to design it all myself, and
Yeah.
it was so much fun.
I
Did
do
you put it
enjoy
together
it.
yourself?
Mike put it together.
Okay.
Her husband.
Her husband.
Yeah.
And it was very nice, and
It
I
was
love
so
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think I want to literally rip my hair out when I put together IKEA furniture.
I can't.
I love the organization of it, like the step-by-step process.
Yeah.
I love when I go in, they give me a pencil and a piece of paper and I can write down the
That's
bin
so
numbers.
fun.
I love the part where I can go get to the warehouse side.
Yes.
I hate the part where it takes me forever to get to the warehouse. Like
Yep.
once I know what I want, I don't want to go on
Yeah.
all the
You got to
floors.
learn the shortcuts.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
but it confuses me and I'm a little nervous and there's a lot of people and I
Yeah.
also don't want to miss the snacks.
Right. That's the biggest
know,
part.
the
That's the
cafe.
biggest
I'm like,
part.
yeah, I'm like,
The
I want to
cafe.
exit, but I don't want to miss the
yeah,
snack
I
Okay.
love
part.
the chicken tenders, but don't want like the mugs and the
Yeah,
plates.
yeah. So I like that part of it, but putting it together, no.
Jill, let me
I
ask you
wouldn't know
this. So, yeah, you and Mike got married.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a lot of single girlfriends?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that Mike is their quasi handyman too?
Yes.
Yeah, like the number one, they're always calling you. Is like, hey, can Mike come over? And
Yes.
yeah, so
But he takes like a honor in it.
Right. No, it's the same.
Yeah.
So me and my wife, same situation. We were the first of our friend group to get
That is
married.
incredible.
So all of her friends were girls. Were moving it. So I was putting up blinds. I was
No
putting
way.
together IKEA
Yeah.
furniture. It was me and Donnie Cook, me
Yep.
and Ariel.
Oh,
yes.
We were the movers
Yeah.
for everybody, the packers.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
put all that kind of stuff.
That is
and so you don't realize this, men, if you get married young, you're not the handyman just for your house, but for all your
Everyone.
wife's
Yes.
friends'
Yeah.
households until they get their own handyman.
And my
Yes.
husband Louis is like the grandfather of
Yes.
all the handymen.
Yes.
Mike,
Yep,
literally, if Mike has a question, he actually is calling Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Louis has the truck.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
they go together and it's a project and it's a teaching moment.
And
Like
does
they,
Louis like walk in the house and go, cheap?
Yeah.
no,
Cheap.
literally.
Yeah,
like,
this is cheap.
it- I
I
think
can fix this. I got this tool in my truck.
No,
Let me
Louis
go fix
always
this.
has tools in his
Oh.
like in the
That's
truck. We
incredible.
always have like a tape
He-
measure or something. And
Yeah.
Louis has like a goal, like he will fix it first. And he and Mike just did a French drain underneath
Yeah.
No
a
way.
deck in my mom's backyard
Yeah.
from the gutter
What?
under the deck to go
Wow.
out, and it's a French drain.
Yeah.
That's next for my
And
house.
Mike is like obsessed with learning things
Oh,
from Louis.
they
Like
love
that.
it. Yeah.
I love it.
It's they're cute.
Learned how
They
to
just
put
started business.
sconces up outside.
Yeah,
and things like
yeah,
that. It's very
all the
fun.
things.
Love
It's
it.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're googling IKEA.
Googling
That's how
IKEA.
we got to all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's everyone else
What-
googling?
Yeah. Well, okay, this is kind of like the little transition here, but honestly, what I've been Googling is, and Michael, this is probably perfect that you're on the podcast this week because
very nervous.
I'm so curious.
am.
you,
So nervous.
could you maybe help me define what, and it's not funny.
But it makes you nervous because when you talk about stuff like this, you get nervous. Yeah,
But what is a recession, and what does it mean that we're in one?
because she just moved into a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
kinda
she's probably
nerve-wracking.
nervous of like, can I still afford the house?
Okay.
Yeah.
What is a recession?
Okay, what is a recession? So fun fact, in the last 4 days, the definition of recession on Wikipedia has been changed 30 times.
No way.
I did hear that.
Yes. been
How do
changed
you
30
know?
times.
Do you watch it?
What? Well, no, I didn't watch
it's
that.
just
It
been
was
all
a
over the
news
place.
story. Yeah, it's all
27?
over.
BuzzFeed put something out about
Yeah,
it.
right. It's
29.
been changed 27 times. Here's the deal. A recession is a way to describe a current economic status so it's a way to describe where we are in an economy, right?
Okay.
It is defined by a number of quantitative measures and qualitative measures. So
Okay.
it's a combination of both, right? So those measures include things like unemployment. They include things like purchasing power. They include things like gross domestic product, GDP
Yes.
growth. And they include things like quality of life. They include things like the overall mood of the country. So it's like a big soup collection of things.
Okay.
It's mostly a media term, right? So it's mostly a headline grabber, right? So like in a true, so you have recessions and you have depressions, right? So a depression is, we've only ever had one as a country.
Okay.
We have recessions.
the Great Depression.
Right. We have the Great Depression. That was like true economic collapse. And it also encompassed a lot of transitions in the way that we do monetary policy. I'm not going to go into that. But since
God.
then, we've had a lot of ups and downs. And basically, the way a society works, or the way an economy works, is it works in cycles. It has cycles of ups and it has cycles of downs. And so the idea
And
is
we are going down.
we're in a downward trend across the board.
Okay.
Are we actually in a recession right now? That's the big question. We don't actually know.
Oh.
And so because we don't actually know,
Okay.
we're probably not.
Okay.
So there's a lot of factors involved that are not ticking. So for
Should we actually care? Like, can we control it? Like, shouldn't we just
you can't control it, but you can prepare
Keep
for it.
saving
you can
and,
prepare,
like-
you can prepare for
Yeah.
it. The way to think
I mean,
about
I
this,
saved
if
a
you're
Yeah.
a Game of
Right.
Thrones fans, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, most of our listeners, if you are Gen Z right now, you have come of age in what is called summer. Right, so your jobs, you have more job options than you've ever known in life. You can get loans really, really, really cheap. You can buy a house at 2% interest rates. Credit cards, you could get. It was summertime, is what they call it. It's a summer economy.
Hey,
What we're heading
yeah.
into is a winter economy.
Oh.
So that means there's
Not as
less
cute.
Yeah.
less jobs available. So it's going to be much more
colder.
competitive. It's going to
snow.
be tougher to borrow money.
Right.
You're going to have less purchasing power, right? So your dollar can buy less things overall. And the bigger thing is that you're just going to hear a bunch of media heads on TV saying recession, we're in a recession, blah blah blah.
Can I
Most
choose
of the
to
time
not
it's tech.
participate in that?
You absolutely can.
Like, can I just like keep my head down, keep
You
working, keep
absolutely
saving,
can.
and just
You
don't worry about
absolutely
it?
Going
can.
to
The
the mall,
principles
like-
for thriving in summer are the same principles for surviving in winter. And the better you do in
That's a
summer,
good
the
quote.
more prepared you are for winter. And so this is where it's very important to have 6 months savings
Yeah.
in your bank account. Very important to be low on debt as much as possible. Very
Yep.
important to have your auto drafts put in for buying stock markets, your 401ks, having all that set up.
Right.
You should have done it in the summer, but that doesn't mean you can't start doing it now in winter.
Okay.
Okay.
Helpful. Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
Mind blown.
It's great.
Yeah. So is that your fun fact too about the housing thing, or does that?
No, my thing that I've been
into
Googling
that?
a lot
Yeah.
is the housing market. I told you guys at the front end. So
Yeah, because you
ties
want
into,
to buy a house, or
Yes, well, so
invest.
Mike, as of this recording, and this shouldn't change by the time this recording comes out. I'm currently living with my parents,
Okay,
which is great.
great.
So
Especially during a recession.
especially during a recession,
The
I,
winter.
if we were in that.
Yeah.
Right. I saw winter come. I still see winter coming.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see it here yet, mainly because there's still more jobs available than people searching for jobs. That's
Yeah.
like one of the main indicators.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Of a recession. So people can still get a job, which is great. That means you still have purchasing power. But what I'm looking at is the housing market.
Okay.
Will the housing market collapse? Will it burst? Will we have a 2008 crisis? And the bigger question, really the existential one is now a time to buy a house? Is it a good time to buy?
I sure hope so. I just
Is
did.
this like a rhetorical question, or do you have any
No,
answer?
it is what I've been Googling.
Okay.
That's what I've been Googling.
So
is now
is
a good
it
time.
a good
What's
time?
people say?
So here's what I can surmise across the board, right? I am not a real estate agent, nor am I a macroeconomics expert, but here's what I understand. Here's what we've got going on. Up to this point, we've had throttled supply. That means that more people wanted houses than houses are available.
Correct.
We've had low interest, historically low, the lowest interest rates of all time.
Yeah.
Were in the last couple of years, and we also had more people buying homes than people buying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 homes.
Yeah.
Which has the only ever time that's ever happened is in 2008.
Okay.
So what that has created is a situation where we're entering now. Here's what I see: 3 things. Inventory. Number 1. This summer, more new homes came on the market this last year. It was a 22% increase in new homes year over year. Largest
I'm a part of
increase.
that.
Largest increase in new homes flooding the market since 2008.
Wow.
Right? The last time this happened was 2008.
Ruh-roh.
The reason why is because all those supply chain shortages caught up to themselves and they dumped homes on the market. It's literally building homes that didn't have buyers. So you're talking about whole 40,
Gotcha.
50 houses. So that's a lot of inventory being dumped on the market all at once. At the same time, rates have gone up, double, triple. We're at 6%, 8% right now. That right there kills the third thing, which is demand, right? So people who are buying 2 and 3 homes to Airbnb thinking they're going to be cute, now they can't do that, right? So now they're not buying their homes. This is being coupled with the fact that for the last 2 years, we've had this thing called forbearance, which is the federal government keeping people from being kicked out of their homes who
Right.
haven't paid their mortgages
Right.
because of COVID.
Right.
Forbearance ended in January. It takes 900 days for a bank to evict somebody out of their home. So we're only halfway
3
there.
years?
Yeah,
or
about
2.5 years?
about 2.5 years, 900 days from you. So, but
Wow.
here's the crazy thing about forbearance. At the end of forbearance, all the mortgage you didn't pay is due right there. It didn't go away.
snap.
It's just due right there.
What if you don't pay it?
So
You
what
have
people
to do
were
bankruptcy, probably.
what people were counting on was being able to sell their home to get the appreciation out of it. But
That's smart.
now you've got people in forbearance flooding the market at the same time that new homes are flooding the
This
market.
is actually very interesting.
At the same time that interest rates are going higher than they've ever been. So the people buying 2 and 3 homes are not buying 2 and 3 homes anymore. So now you have more inventory than there are demands
So
on
then
that side.
houses won't be
So housing prices come down because people
because there's more available.
because people in forbearance are like, crap, I got to get out of this. I owe the
Yeah.
money. The bank's coming, or the bank may foreclose. And if a bank forecloses, they automatically slash the price by 20 to 30%. So the minute they're doing that, now all these new developers are like, crap, I got to get my cash because I got to pay my builders because I overpaid for all these supplies. So now I'm going to slash my prices by 20, 30% to get people to buy.
Yeah.
And boom, 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 boom. That's not factoring in the biggest X factor of all time that people don't realize, and that is a massive hurricane in South Florida. If we get a big hurricane in South Florida, this is Michael Steiner saying, housing market collapse this January. Because what'll happen
Don't
is
speak it,
everybody
Michael.
will flood it.
not
Everybody
gonna
will flood the
happen.
market.
It's
not
So that's
gonna
what I've been Googling.
That's
my
wild.
analysis
No
of the current housing
hurricanes
situation.
In Jesus' name.
Well,
I appreciate that you say it.
I was
and
locked
and, like,
in.
Yeah.
Me too.
I was like,
I
but
appreciate
I
that
also
you
just
like
bought a house.
well, and not making it. You made it easy to listen
Understand.
to
Yes,
and
yes.
to
Appreciate
understand.
that.
And I
Yes.
think media does a good job of making it sound scary and
Right.
big
Yes.
and
Yes.
bad, but you made it be like this is just a natural flow
Yes.
of how things
Yes.
are.
I'm not
Yes.
afraid.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I read things and I'm like, fear.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like listening. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with
I just need
with the
extra
housing market, if you're planning on being your home for the next 30 years, you're fine.
You're good.
Yeah.
Buy your home. Doesn't matter. You can
Gotcha.
refinance with the rates
But
go
if you're
down.
trying to flip and do all that,
If you were trying to flip or you're trying to get into an Airbnb,
not great time.
Not
now's
great
not the
time.
time to do
Not
that.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
that.
We hear you.
I get that. And we don't live in a
Should've brought
spirit
notes.
of fear.
No.
That's not who we are.
Amen, Sister
Not in
Girl.
Christ. Okay, awkward moments.
It's okay.
I feel like I always have tons. Y'all are always looking for awkward moments.
I
but
am.
okay, I had an awkward moment in college. Many of them.
Tell it.
Yeah,
What's
but
happening?
one of them, okay, so I didn't get a car when I was 16. I like rode to work with my dad every day and like his truck and loved it. And like when I went to college, my brother had a car. We were at the same school in Ohio. And then my junior year, my parents bought me a car because he was graduating and I needed a car. I had this 1997 hunter green convertible with gold rims.
Yeah.
I had gold rims. It was cute. And I remember, when it gets cold, your tires deflate a little bit. And so I had all these alarms saying that my tires were low.
Okay.
And so my dad was like, go buy a tire gauge and fill your the tire up with air. And I'm like, okay, great. So I bought a tire gauge, went to the gas station, bought a tire gauge, and then I still couldn't figure it out. So I went to the tire store.
That would have been
You needed.
No, I needed a Michael Steiner handyman.
Or a Mike Glass.
Or my Glass, or Louis Thomas,
You
or
just
where was
needed a
my
Michael.
husband?
Yeah. I just need my husband.
No, everybody needs a Louis.
Yeah, everybody.
Okay, so I walk into the tire store and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't get my my tires to get air in them. Even though I never tried. I didn't know what to do with the tire gauge. I put it on it and this thing would come out. I didn't know what was going on. And the guy was like, how many PSIs does your tire need? And I said, I have no idea, but it needs 35 pissies. And the guy was like, what?
You're like, yeah, the pissy.
Yeah, I'm like, it needs 35 pissies. And the guy was like,
Oh my gosh.
and he goes, no, that's PSI. And I was like, oh. So I don't know if that was awkward, but more like blonde.
That's amazing.
Because I'm such a literal person, and I felt so stupid.
No, it's okay.
And then the guy goes, and for the record, because I was like, but it won't read it. The thing's not reading it. And he was like, you have a semi-truck tire gauge.
No way.
An 18-wheeler tire gauge. It couldn't even gauge my tire
0.
at all. Literally, I was like, it says it's dead.
Yeah.
My tires are actually dead. And they have 0 pissies in them.
It's supposed to have 310.
Yeah. I know. And I'm like, it has 0 pissies. So I called my dad and I'm like, I'm going to need a tutorial next time.
Next
that
time,
was
don't send me
amazing.
in
so
there like that.
embarrassing.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
That's
gosh.
incredible.
Yeah, I have
That's
multiple stories
amazing.
about
Good.
cars, but I'll save them for another day.
Okay, mine happened this morning. So I went to
Oh.
Pilates. Yeah, it was
Wow.
recent.
You went to Pilates?
I know this
I'm
morning.
proud of you.
Yes, so I've been going
Well
to
done.
Pilates for the past 2 months. It's my
Balance
summer
culture?
thing.
Yeah.
No, at the Club Pilates. It's right by Greenwise.
Oh,
if you're familiar
gotcha.
with
Yeah,
Lakeland.
yeah. Club Pilates. Well done.
It's so much fun. And
Shout
I
out
went
Club
in.
Pilates.
Yeah, shout out. There's 12 reformers, so there's only 12 people in a class. And I'm a little bit late this morning. So I walk in at 6:02.
And the class is at 6, I'm assuming.
Class is at
She's
6.
5:30.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it ended at 6. But I walk in and everyone's seated on one. And I walk up to the front and I was like, hey, Miss Instructor, there's no seats. But I registered.
Yeah.
And she looks around and she starts calling roll. And she's like, well, I guess someone's not supposed to be in here.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
And I'm standing up there next to her. And she's listing names. And Katie was there, Katie Markey, who works in our office.
Is she dying?
She was looking at me and she was like, oh no. And then get to this one lady
Oh,
who
no.
she is older. Her name's Kathy and she's done over 1,000 classes there.
And she wasn't registered.
No,
She
no, no,
wasn't
no, no, no.
registered. And she goes, I think it's me.
Oh. You didn't kick her off her reformer.
I kicked her off.
Sarah!
But it was so awkward and everybody was looking at me and I had to walk back
Sarah!
down the aisle to get to it. And I was like, oh, this is weird. So that was my awkward moment at 6 a.m.
That is
Kicked
awkward.
Kathy off
Hey.
of her
Hey.
reformer.
Kathy off.
Hey, Kathy needs to learn. Kathy learned today.
You gotta register.
You gotta register.
Exactly.
Register,
Okay,
Kathy.
so did she leave or did she stay on the floor and do Pilates?
She left.
That's
Sarah.
really sad, Sarah.
No.
What was I gonna do?
Sarah,
Waste
gross.
my time?
No.
Hey.
You registered. You did what you're supposed
You go
to
to
do.
Greenwise and get yourself a cup of coffee and call it a day.
And call
No,
it.
no.
Hey, they're not
You
even
registered.
Okay,
That's
would
what-
you kick someone off or would you leave?
Absolutely kick
Would you
them off.
kick
I
someone off
registered.
or
I
leave?
followed the rules. It's not my fault. I followed the rules.
Yeah.
If I was the instructor,
I mean, it is my fault.
feel like
That's
I
a-
wouldn't call roll.
I think I would have, if I'm the instructor, I would have given them my reformer.
Yes.
Because she probably has one that
And
she's on.
also,
have
if
one.
if I'm the instructor and I know Kathy because she's taken over 1,000 classes, which I'm not trying to get at their instructor either, but
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm the instructor and I see the list of roll and I don't see Kathy's name on it, I probably will just go up to her, hey Kathy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like you registered
yes,
today.
I'm so
It was
sorry.
so awkward.
But everyone would know 12 people. They're going to be like,
Yeah.
it was
I guess
obviously
so.
her.
I guess you just
had
ripped the
to,
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Everyone was looking around. Everyone was like, oh.
Yeah,
And I was like, hey,
Get up.
that's
Kathy,
so funny.
move.
Yeah. Get up, please. Okay,
so sweet.
Michael, awkward moment. Or has
Okay.
it done to you or
Okay,
it
all right.
done?
So I am. This is my sophomore year of college. I am cuddling on the couch with a girl who's not my current wife, is a girlfriend before
Is it
there.
former wife?
Former girlfriend before my wife. We're cuddling on the couch. It's the middle of Thanksgiving break.
I'm already embarrassed.
We had multiple fights over the weekend, and at this point, I was fed up. And here's what was crazy about this girlfriend in particular: is we had started our relationship long distance, and she actually had moved completely down to Southeastern.
Oh, wow.
Things were great long distance.
But in person, you're like, no,
terrible.
thank you.
Can't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
So she had moved down here. She couldn't afford a plane ticket to go back to her family for Thanksgiving, so she was staying for my family.
But did she make that up?
What?
We've all played that. I can't afford to go home.
I don't know.
Have to stay
I don't know
with
what
you.
the truth. I don't know what the truth of it is, but I knew that Monday that I was breaking up with her after Thanksgiving. I was going to hold on through Thanksgiving.
She got there?
No. She had already been down for a semester, and things were not going great.
But you
and
knew
after a whole weekend of fighting, I was like, I'm breaking up with this girl after
Monday.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so this was Monday of Thanksgiving break. So we're cuddling on the couch watching the movie, and I'm thinking I'm playing as cool as possible.
Yeah.
Everything's great, no difference. All of a sudden, she stands up and looks at me and goes, "You want to break up with me, don't you?"
No
And I looked at her. I said, "Yeah, I really do. I really do." I said I was gonna wait till after Thanksgiving so that you wouldn't be like abandoned
Then
or
why are you
anything and stuff like
cuddling
that.
her?
But I thought I was trying to do the right thing
Oh my
because
goodness.
she said she couldn't get a plane ticket to go home.
So you're just
I'm
trying to
like,
be
I'm not
kind.
gonna break up with you for Thanksgiving. So now
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
stuck in a
Oh,
place where the only
no.
person you know is me.
But you would still kick the Pilates lady out.
I would still kick the Pilates lady out. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
I learned.
Did
Okay,
she
so
stay for
she's
Thanksgiving?
yeah.
What? No, she ended up finding a plane ticket home.
Oh,
She got home,
conveniently.
and she never came
Yeah.
back. All that kind of stuff. But that
She
She
was
didn't come back to Lakeland at all?
no. She didn't come back at all. She was done. That was
You
it.
tore her dreams and heart.
I
in
did.
college.
I did. She moved down for a specific reason. I think
Oh,
she's
that's
married with
such
a
a
kid
bummer.
now. This was a long time ago.
Hey,
but that
great.
was the most awkward moment. I'm not
Oh,
saying
yeah,
there's
yeah,
not
yeah.
other awkward
Yeah,
moments,
but
but
that one
was,
you're like,
that was pretty darn awkward.
Yeah.
Did your
Anyway.
parents know, or did you have to explain to
why
them?
she left.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
No.
mean?
They were.
next
they-
day
It was your
You know-
cooking.
You know what's so weird about moms? If you're a boy mom, don't do this. Every single girlfriend I ever broke up with, she goes, "Yeah, I knew she wasn't the one for you." I was like, "Mom,
My mom did
why
that.
did you say? Why did you say something?" She goes, "You got to figure it out for
Yeah,
yourself."
and you
I'm
get-
like,
I
"What are you
respect that.
talking? Do you know
I
how much
respect
money
that.
And
I
you
left?"
get nervous that like, what if you married her? And
Yeah.
in the back of your head, you're like,
My
mom doesn't
could've
like you.
kept it. Yep. So
So you have to be careful. You have to tread
Right.
lightly.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Be
wild.
it all worked out. She was crazy.
And
my
you
my
married
current
an
wife
amazing
Erica
woman.
is amazing.
I love
is the
her.
best,
Amazing.
the
She is the
easiest
best.
thing.
Shout
Love
out
it.
Yes.
to
Yep.
Erica.
And now
Erica.
Low
we've
maintenance, no fighting.
we've made some pretty
Yeah.
beautiful little girls right
We
now.
did.
So
Cute.
it all worked out. But that was awkward. That was
What dating's
terribly
about.
awkward.
That
Yeah.
is funny.
All right, Joe, we had a submission.
Yes, we had a submission. This submission is hilarious. So we all read it. So if I get any of the
Yeah.
story parts wrong, just let me know. But we got a submission that someone who had a guest stay at their house come and when they left, they went into the room to, take the sheets off the bed to wash them and get
Yeah.
the guest room,
Flipped.
flipped.
Yeah.
And they realized the bed sheets were gone, like completely gone.
Just
Strange.
off the bed. They weren't under the bed.
Nope, they were gone. They took them, and they weren't in the
funny.
trash. They just took them.
And this is like just a home.
yes, this
Yeah.
is like their home. Like they had
Not like an
guests.
Airbnb.
No,
Yeah,
no,
they
no.
had
Not a
like,
hotel.
they had
This
like
is their
some
home.
friends that are
yeah, it
guests
was
come
friends.
stay,
Friends come stay.
and the sheets are gone.
The sheets are gone.
Ooh.
So then they exchange texts because
Because they know each
Yes,
other.
yes.
Yeah,
They
you're
know
like,
They stay
hey,
there.
hey,
This
Bethany,
wasn't
you
some
yeah.
hobo.
Yeah.
This wasn't some
Yeah.
hobo you
Yeah.
brought off the
Yeah.
street.
Did
This
you
is
happen to put the sheets in the washing machine?
where are the sheets?
Are they in the
Yeah.
pool?
And they said, "We're so sorry. We'll send you new sheets." I don't know the other
Like
part
we
of the story.
accidentally took your sheets.
I don't know
Yeah.
that part of the story.
Okay.
so something happened
Did
to those
she-
sheets.
She was texting
I don't
her
even wanna know.
husband.
But no, this is after they talk and they say, "Okay, we're gonna get you new sheets."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then
right.
she texts her husband or thinks she's texting her
no.
That's
husband.
the worst. The
And
worst.
They
the worst.
received the sheets that the people got and said, "These sheets are bad.
Like they're cheap.
They're cheap."
Yeah.
No way.
I had like 1,000 thread count
Oh.
sheets
Yes,
on
like
my
one
guest
from
bed.
Nordstrom
Yeah.
on
And
the
they
guest
sent TJ Maxx sheets
It's
back.
like 2 thread
But
count.
Yeah, and
it
she's
was to
the person
people that
that
That's
sent
stayed.
the
so
Nah.
embarrassing. embarrassing.
That's
Is it
awkward.
though? Is it though? Is it
I know.
embarrassing?
I'm kind of with Michael. Like, I'm
sheets.
embarrassed, but
You
I'm
stole
like,
sheets.
you should know
So
better. Okay, so
That's a
next,
great submission. We
That
need
is a
more
great
submissions.
Yes,
More
please,
submissions,
submit.
please.
Send in more of
We
your
love
awkward
them.
moments.
I know. Otherwise,
Wow, that was gold.
Otherwise, I have to
Yes.
keep sharing my dumb blonde moments.
Car moments.
We don't
more
want
car
that. Oh, I have
stories.
so
No.
many, you guys, so
Yeah.
many embarrassing ones.
Last times was really funny.
With the
With
lobster.
I
I
think
know.
about that all the
I
time.
can't wait till that
I
podcast
was
goes out.
shocked. I know.
I know, you go,
I'm like, we can't get lobster certified at Walmart.
yeah. Anyways, okay. So now, what do we wish our younger self would have known, or what are you currently learning? That's the last part of the segment. It gets a little bit more serious, but I love it because it kind of brings it home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who wants to
I
go
like
first?
it.
Right home.
I'll go first. I think for me, so when this episode comes out, it's gonna be the first day of classes, which is really exciting.
Oh, that is fun.
So I'm starting classes. I'm in my master's, and I know a lot of students are as well. So I think my biggest piece of advice to myself and to others is to prioritize Jesus and to prioritize prayer.
Yeah.
Because we just
good.
went through a super fun season of Welcome Week. So that was the friends part. Now we're adding the classes part, and you're with people 24/7. It
Yeah.
can be so hard to take a moment and be like, okay, God,
I love that.
this is how I'm feeling. This is my
Yeah.
check-in.
Yeah.
So never to lose that. So like
Yep.
even if you have to like step away and be like, okay, I just need 30 minutes to read my Bible and pray,
Yeah.
take that moment.
Yeah.
And I remember it's actually funny. We did it at a CWL event. So
Yeah.
shout out them, or us technically.
Yeah.
But she talked about when you're juggling, there are certain things in your life that are rubber balls and certain things that are crystal balls. And the rubber balls will drop and they bounce back up.
Yeah.
So like your friends going to Taco Bell at 10 p.m. at night, it'll bounce back. It'll
Yeah.
happen again. But your relationship with Jesus is crystal. And
I
if
love
that,
that.
drops, you mess up the system.
Yeah.
That is
So
very good.
making sure
I
you've
love
got
that.
a good juggling system
Yeah.
and you're prioritizing
Yeah.
your relationship with Jesus.
Mine
really
kind of
good.
leads into that because we were talking about first day, and I remember being dropped off as a freshman. I went
Yeah.
to school 18 hours away from home, and I remember I'm trying to think how to say this that it makes sense, but I remember just needing time away, like you said, spending time prioritizing Jesus, praying, but it was so hard to do in the dorm because I'm
Yeah.
in a suite of 8 girls and
Right.
everyone's always having fun. It's
Yes.
always like, what ramen are we making tonight? What concoction are we trying to make out of our microwave? You know, yeah, like what souffle are we going to make in our coffee mug tonight? And so I remember I was like, okay, I want to silence the voices because I know sometimes it's easy to have other voices in your life that are louder than Jesus. And I'm like, how do I make his voice the loudest?
Yeah.
So I picked one lunch a week where I would fast and go to our chapel because there was no one there. And I would just sit in silence for 30 minutes and just have my Devo with the Lord and just listen to what he was trying to say. Because I felt like as a freshman, it was so easy to like be overwhelmed by your syllabus and your friends that you're meeting and
Yes.
maybe the new cute guy you met in your science class or, you know, maybe your parents telling you all these different things. And so it was so nice to just once a week, I knew I was going to have that silent time. So even if you're a new freshman coming here, find a quiet space to get away. Like don't just make it something where you're always distracted or it's cool to like sit in a coffee shop and do your Devo, but you're not really retaining it. So find a
Yes.
spot where you can do that. And you don't have to fast lunch. Like I think I ate lunch later. I just picked the hour that no one was in the chapel to go and do that. So, and I actually started reading the hymnal. I think a hymnal is a thing of the past.
I love it.
it's beautiful.
But like I started, our
beautiful.
chapel had these old hymnals, so I did my devos out of the hymnals, and I'd read a hymnal and then try to find verses. Or a lot of times at the bottom of a hymn it says the verse that it referenced,
Yeah.
and so I'd look up that verse, and then singing those hymns later was just so profound.
That's
I
very
am
beautiful.
obsessed.
Yeah.
That's so true about coffee shops when you're like, I'm going to read my Bible.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm getting this. Did I
Yeah.
get the right photo? And
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not reading that book of the Bible.
Right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you guys?
I feel like right now I'm still trying to remind myself of this, but taking the opportunities that are in front of me rather than being scared that I'm going to miss something that's bigger or better or
That's
something.
good. Yeah.
And if you are listening and you're brand new to SEU or you're coming back to SEU, or even if you're just in your life, I feel like just to encourage people not to be scared of taking small opportunities that are in front of
Yeah.
you to serve or to help someone or to help serve at your church or even in an office, or if you're a student on campus serving within student leadership or something like that in the community, because I feel like those are not to be taken for granted, and they are what brings you to the other goals that you have in your life. I feel like so many times, like students, even seniors that are graduating, they're trying to figure out how to get their dream job. And sometimes that's not necessarily the reality.
You take the baby steps.
And you take the baby steps. And even if you're a freshman or a senior, taking the small opportunities in front of you is going to continue to prove that you're going to be faithful in the big. I think it says in scripture, hey, be faithful in the small, because the more that you can be trusted in the small, the more you're going to be able to be added unto you. To be able to steward the bigger things and be trusted with bigger things. And I think that just plays into a character of like, I think probably a lot of people, listeners, or you guys have heard the saying, I'd rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a small pond. And I feel like trying to remember that in this season and also to encourage others to do that, I think that it's just never goes void. It never like is a bad thing. And if anything, it's going to continue to get you to the goals that you do have. And in the meantime, you're going to learn more than you ever thought you would. Being
So
able
good.
to do those things.
Yeah.
So,
This is going to sound silly, but someone one time told me, like, imagine yourself being a frog and you're on a lily pad in a lake and your goal is to get to the other side of the lake, which is like your dream job. But a frog can't go from that lily pad to the one across the lake. He has to jump from one lily pad to the next lily pad to the next one until you get to that. And so
so
I think, like you said, every student's like, well, I didn't get this salary and I didn't get this job and I didn't. And I'm like, but you have a job and you need food and a way to live and it has a salary and benefits. Take the job. It's not your it won't be your forever. I went to like 5 different jobs before I landed this one, and that's okay. So that's a great word of advice.
And I think there's, especially if you're a youth group kid and you're listening to this, which there's a lot of us in there, all youth, right? You know, we were pushed all growing up, and this is kind of my advice to myself, but like you're pushed all growing on that same vein, you're pushed all growing up like, don't waste your life, right? Like, don't do something of significance, all that kind of stuff. But what I've reflected over my life is that sometimes I got so afraid of wasting my life that I forgot to actually live it.
Oh, so good.
So
you know, unpack that.
Right. So you're going through. So for me, my story is I went from undergrad to master's to doctoral, knocking it all out, just like at warp 5, doing 100 things, which is great, awesome. I mean, if you're ambitious, you got to go for it. I'm not trying to hold you back, but at the same time, there were moments that I didn't enjoy because I was already on the next thing in my head. And so now that I've got 2 girls. My oldest is now 3 already, which is weird. I feel like I was just getting married, and all of a sudden now I've got a 3-year-old, and I realized, wait a minute, like the more you can find contentment in the moment, right? And so that's to me, it kind of goes back to where when Moses asked God, "Who are you?" He said, "I am." What that is I'm not the future, I'm not the past, I'm this present moment.
That's
and
so
you
good.
find God, you find your purpose, you find your life, not by planning ahead for the future or regretting your past, but by being content with what the Spirit is doing in the moment.
Amen.
So good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So we go from there.
Well, Michael, we have loved having you on the podcast. Thanks for encouraging us to do it.
Yes.
Good.
I hope our listeners have loved it. And make sure you tune in next week to The Tea with Dr. B.
Yep.
Sip, sip, everybody.
Sip, sip.
Have a great week.
Sip, sip.